Today on the channel from NECA Toys, we've got the Ultimate Edition of The Count with special guest, my dad.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for a special unboxing. As today, via NECA Toys, we've got the Munsters, The Count, with a special guest, my dad. Dad, say hello.
Hello, and I'm not a count.
He's not a count yet,
But I'm a grandpa.
He's a grandpa, and we'll get into that. That'll be an interesting segue here. But of course, for all your count needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. And of course, anything over $59 does ship free. Got to get a deal. Now today, we're talking all things The Count. Now a lot of people think of him as Grandpa Munster, of course, which we just talked about here.
Right.
Now, if for those that saw, and not a lot of people saw this movie, you included, right?
I have not seen it yet.
He has not seen it. Are you against seeing it? Would you see it if you were flipping through?
You never know. But I kind of like to remember the Munsters the way I remember them. From, what, 64 to 66?
There's a lot of people that way, I think, in the same boat. Munster, come home. That's what they say. Yeah. But what if some Saturday night you were flipping through and Svengoolie was going to be on, and he was doing the new Munsters movie? Would you watch it then?
I would do it just for Svengoolie.
Just for Svengoolie. Shout out to Svengoolie.
For the commercials and the little puns and the little jokes that he does.
I think we need to do a joint video as the son of Svengoolie. Those videos they do?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do one of those and send it in. Let's see what happens. I think we should. Those that know, they know. But, of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there, and probably off the rails is probably where it will go. But this, we were talking about it here. This is technically the ultimate count because this movie took place before the Munsters were the Munsters. It was about them meeting and all that kind of stuff, and him meeting Herman for the first time and stuff. So later down the road, he became Grandpa Munster, but at this time, he was just a straight-up count. So,
and even in this prequel, he thought Herman was a dunce.
He didn't have a lot of time for Herman,
no.
And you know, they were very fond. They were very fond of each other. They kind of went back and forth.
Not a lot of respect.
Not a lot of respect, you know. But Frankenstein and Dracula never really historically got along the best. Never really historically, but an interesting movie. I still say, as we talked about in the other reviews, I still say it's worth watching one time. If you like the Munsters, what are you going to be out? It's a lot of things. If I watch it, it's worth watching once. Would I go back and watch it again? Probably not, unless I was spinning through the channel and I was stuck on it or something like that. But it kind of is what it is. But we do know NECA, they do a good job with the Universal Monster figures. You're a big fan of those as well. We're anxiously awaiting the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think that might be the next one. Still waiting for the announcement of that full-on lagoon, the Child's Pool, I think they were going to put out. Hopefully that comes eventually. Fingers crossed. But we'll be in those. But it's been a little bit of a lull with you not on the channel for a while. As no releases, nothing going on. And you weren't too interested in the old Popeye the Sailor Man. Poop Deck Pappy was just one step too far for you. You said, I don't need any of that. Or his little friend Pookie Jones. I'll just pass on those.
That's a long history of that.
Yeah,
I mean, that goes back to like 1923 and comic strips and all kinds of things to know and remember.
Did you watch Popeye when you were a little kid? You probably did.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't help it. It was on every day, I think, on certain channels. But
what about Grandpa Peterson? Was Grandpa Peterson a Popeye fan?
No, he was in the Navy.
He was in the Navy. They have a lot in common.
I don't think a lot of the naval people were impressed with Popeye.
They didn't like the stereotypicalness of Popeye. They were very offended by the depiction of Popeye as a sailor.
Well, it's a spinach thing.
Yeah, spinach. You know, they didn't like spinach.
How does that happen?
Yeah, and I remember as a kid thinking spinach would be the greatest thing ever. You see Popeye eating, I'm like, this is going to be the most delicious treat of all time. And honestly, it wasn't. I don't know. Spinach isn't that great. Are you a spinach fan?
I am now. I wasn't when I was younger.
So when you get old, how about sauerkraut? What do you think about sauerkraut?
Oh boy, that's terrible.
Have you ever in your life had sauerkraut and then tried to like hide it in napkins in your pocket? Have you ever done that in your life?
You know, I did that in first grade.
Weird.
In the lunchroom. And the teacher called my mother and said, I'm so worried about Tom. He just isn't eating his vegetables. And so I said, well, there's a way around this. Rather than leave them on my plate, my friend and I we rolled them up in a napkin so they wouldn't be as noticeable, but got caught.
Oh,
and
the worst case.
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut pockets. That was your nickname through high school. Sauerkraut pockets.
Spinach, peas and green beans.
But
I
wait,
didn't like any of that.
Wasn't Aunt Retta your first grade teacher?
Kindergarten.
Oh, okay. Well, that was. I always wondered about that. It'd be crazy having your aunt as your teacher. Do you think you were her favorite student in the class?
No, you couldn't tell. She was
fair.
Exhibited no favoritism at all.
She actually was tougher on you, probably.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Would she ever hit you with a ruler?
No.
I told the story. You haven't seen this video yet, but I did put up a short last night as we're filming this, and you probably know this. Remember back in the old elementary days, the old street fights that used to go down all the time? The old street fights. And you guys remember Rex Mathis. You guys don't, but you do. Yeah. Rex Mathis, of course, and across the street was, what was that called? Sacred Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Sacred Heart, and that's where all the fighting went down. And I told a story about the nun that used to chase us away when the fights were going down.
Oh, wow.
So bringing it all back home again, like a young Bob Dylan. Bringing it all back home. All right, let's take a look at the packaging on old Count. I might say Grandpa Munster. Excuse me, I'm not offending anybody, but, it's hard to break old habits, of course. But definitely looking good. Always love the artwork on these. It's not actually a picture. I think it's an actual drawing there, but very, very cool. Love the Munsters logo. Really wish this was a blood red instead of green, but it's campy. You can't be too gory there. Looking good on the front. On the side, there it is, the old Munsters. I can't remember this actor's name. He's no Al Lewis, though. But who is? Who is at the end of the day?
Al Lewis was
looking good.
Different guy.
He was a different guy. He was, for sure. And he would wear that cape to the end. And then on the back there, you get some glamour shots going on. Of course, you got Herman Munster down there. And then Lily Munster is supposed to be coming eventually.
Oh, wow.
Lily Munster, played by Sherry Moon Zombie. Well, Rob Zombie's wife, of course. And she's in many of his movies, of course. But there it is on the inside. Always love the little images on side. Get a nice little glamour shot. Big bubble window looking really good. So without further ado, let's see what this Count is up to. Now, who is your favorite Dracula? Is it Bela Lugosi, right?
The standard.
Standard. What about, I recently watched the Spanish edition of that. And I think I told you about that. It was, of course, filmed at the same time with Bela Lugosi back in the day. Filmed at the same time, different actors, of course. And there's a lot of people that think the Mexican version is even better. And there's a couple of things I saw. It's a little bit longer movie, of course. It's just really weird. It plays with your head because you've seen the original and you see the same sets, the same stuff, but it looks different. But I just tune out because I don't like the Mexican Dracula. It just doesn't. I don't know if it's like biased. Bela Lugosi bias, as some would say. Yeah. See you later. It's out there. The Bela Lugosi bias, of course. But yeah, it's definitely different. And then, of course, Count from Sesame Street, another famous...
Oh, that's right.
Ever since I was a kid, I hated the Sesame Street. I wanted nothing to do with that Sesame Street. Mr. Rogers, get all that out of here. And flipping it all back to Aunt Retta, or Great Aunt Retta for me, your aunt.
Right.
She would like to sit down, and she loved a Mr. Rogers. She would be at our house, and she'd say, let's put on that Mr. Rogers.
They were both very nice people.
They were very nice. The nicest of the nice, for sure. But that Mr. Rogers, I just couldn't. Yeah. Even as a little kid, being like 4 or 5 years old, I was like, this is just...
Was it the sweaters? Or just the mannerisms?
I think it was a little of everything. He was just... It was not for me, and I said, this is not real life. This is not real life. Even at a little kid age, I knew that. This is just...
We should all be more like Fred, really.
No, get him out of here. Yeah. It was all malarkey. It was all trying to pull the wool over our eyes. Mr. Rogers should have toughened us up for those vicious street fights in the Junction back in the day. You need to tell you about the real world, fighting to survive on your way to school, walking 8 miles to school every day, that kind of stuff, in the wind, snow, and the rain. Oh, man, Plastic Prison. This one's off the rails. I tell you, they always do go off the rails. But there he is. Of course, the Count has his patented shovel.
Right.
Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Everybody needs a shovel somewhere along the way. All right, getting this out of there. Those are off.
It's interesting.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got that.
Uh-oh. We need the old patented scissors. These things have
taped in there.
Had a lot of lines of duty here. All right, come on. Don't want to cut that cape. That's the last thing I need to do. That'll ruin a day. That's for sure. Oh, we got twist ties aplenty. Twist ties aplenty. I'm going to put all these things. Look at all these twist ties in here. They think there's a huge shoplifter thing for the Count here. They said, we better lock him down. 4 twist ties on every arm. That's what we got to do.
Well, they should have put a stake through his heart, too, while they were at it. I mean, that would have
finish him
capped it off.
Finish him off. Might as well. I don't know what's going on here. This is ridiculous.
There's a lot of those things.
A lot of them. It's out of control. I didn't anticipate this many. But I'm hoping NECA dives into some of the other Draculas. Is kind of where I was going with some of this. I would love to see some of the Hammer films. I know you're an anti-Hammer guy. You hate Hammer. You don't even have one in your garage in case you need to nail something. That's how anti-Hammer you are. See you later. Twist ties everywhere. You said, I'm not even going to have a Hammer in there. But I've been watching some of the Hammer films. I've been watching some of them. I'm a big Christopher Lee guy. Peter Cushing. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Grand Moff Tarkin, of course. I remember that was my first experience with him back in the day.
I liked him better in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, than I liked them in the Hammer film.
What about, now you're probably a different experience than me, but Peter Cushing you probably heard of before you saw him as Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars.
Right.
That wasn't, it was like, oh, you saw it, you said, oh, there's Peter Cushing, where young Kyle, like, I don't know him from anything else. That's just the guy, like, man, his cheekbones, he's all crazy. Like, he's turning into a skeleton in front of our eyes. But little did I know he was involved in all these Frankenstein movies and things like that. And I'm not a huge fan of the Hammer Frankenstein movies because it's more about the doctor than the monster. And that's what I don't like about that. And then it's him trying to get different monsters over the years.
And the monster looks totally weird. I mean,
campy 70s, 60s, 70s monster a little bit there. So it's not as fun of a monster. I definitely agree on that. So I'm not a huge fan of those Frankenstein movies, but I like Christopher Lee's Dracula. He's very imposing. And Christopher Lee was like 6'6". He was a big guy. Yeah. And there's something about that. I don't know. And from one big guy to another, you guys, it's that big man feud is what happens. They don't want to, who's going to be the taller guy? So that was...
He had to bend down a long ways to bite his victim.
But, you know, Bela Lugosi in some of the movies, Bela Lugosi was a tall guy, too. Yeah. A lot of people thought he was, like, shorter and stuff, so they would do some tricks and stuff. But he was actually a fairly tall guy. So, anyways, back on here. Let's take a look at these accessories here before we dive into the old count. Look, he's got a skirt, a plastic skirt on. I think this is when he worked part-time at the lunchroom at school. I think he had this as a little skirt, but bam!
There you go.
See you later. There you go.
He's got a blue face. That's interesting.
It is an interesting one. It's
blue head.
Some don't know this. I'm going to break the news right here. He's actually part Smurf. His brother, Papa Smurf. Who knew? The more you know, folks, the more you know. But we do get all the hands under the hand rainbow. We got 2 open hands there. And what do we got? We got 2 fists of fury, of course. The count when the fangs fail. You bust out the teeth and it's all bets are off. You got the fists out there. You got 2 gripping hands. You're going to probably have to use these if you want him to have his shovel. And if you want him to have his walking stick, his cane, and we'll talk about those in a second. And then we get, what do you call this? The grasping hand. He's getting ready. It almost looks like he's going to give a force. He's going to give a force choke, like you know, Darth Vader would do the force choke. Right. So all kinds of hands, as we always say. Choose your own hand adventure. That's what we always say. Do what you want to do. And then he comes with a shovel. Now, I can't remember. I saw the movie one time, so I have a feeling there was a part in the movie with his shovel. You would have to think. You wouldn't think they just throw a random shovel in there, but you never know. Stranger things can happen. You could use this with other figures if you need to. If you need to set up a casket scene where Splinter and the Ninja Turtles dies, and you got the Turtles out there, they're burying Splinter. Everybody loves a rat, especially my house these days.
Oh, boy.
It's all about the rats. But definitely a shovel.
He was probably just trying to dig up a date.
That could be too, digging up a date. I get what you're doing there.
Dig up an old date.
There you go. Now we get this. Now this walking stick cane. How about that? Nice skull on the tip there, looking really cool. Got that skull wear to it. Kind of got that brownish, whitish, very cool looking skull. Definitely looks awesome. Black in the middle. Then on the bottom you get a little cork or something like that. Yeah. Now, how old do you think you're going to be when you get a cane? Or are you a refuser of canes?
I'll refuse as long as I can.
Now, I think we all know this. You'd rather have a cane than a walker.
Certainly.
Certainly, and I will. And I'm probably thinking when I'm 50, I'm going to start having a cane. It's just going to be part of my look. And see, if you have it as part of your look before you actually need it, it makes you feel younger. That's a pro tip there that I've always learned.
Rather than get a cane, you just need to replace your body parts, which I've done.
You have.
The Undertaker and I have both had hip replacements.
You are the Undertaker of the Midwest, I have heard.
I don't need a cane. I mean, I've got steel and ceramic working.
You said, I'm retiring from work, and they said, Tom, what are you going to do? Well, I'm planning on major surgeries. I'm going to get hips replaced, knees replaced. I'm going to do all that kind of stuff. And you blame basketball probably for that hip, don't you? You blame those years of up and down on that court.
Golf, just being active.
It's the way it goes.
Wears out.
How is the golf game? Have you got out on the links yet?
I have not played much this year so far.
It's still early.
Well, the whole month of April was 30-mile-an-hour winds about every day, and then we had rain and a little snow, and so... it'll get back in maybe the swing of things here in May.
It's been a rough April because I've seen my Facebook memories pop up, and it's always like, oh, got the Jeep out for the first time. I haven't got the Jeep out for the first time. It's been terrible weather here.
It has been.
Hard times, disappointment, but canes all day long. Give me a cane. I'm about a decade away from a cane, and I'm very excited for that day. So the more that comes. So now we get into the Count, Grandpa Munster himself. We're gonna look at these heads first. Now, this first thing you notice is, what do you call this hairdo? He's got like the perm and the little curl up on the side. I don't know. It's an interesting
kind of like
look.
bat wings.
It kind of is.
Or fenders. They used to call them fenders.
Fenders. And you just hairspray that in there real tight and stuff. Now, I do like that look because he's got the gray on the sides. This is, before he was Grandpa, he's getting older. He's starting to get older. We all are. It seems like every one of us is getting a little older every single day. Just seems that way. I don't know. You guys fact check that one. But he's getting a little gray at the temples and the sideburns. I'm also getting a little bit of that here. So I might have this look here in a couple of years. And then he's got the black up top. And he's got that deep part down the middle. Look at that. That is a part you could literally set your watch to.
That goes back to like the 1920s. Yeah. People used to do that.
People loved a good part. Did you ever have a comb in your back pocket back in the day?
I can't say I did.
Like the late 50s and stuff. Did you ever just pull that thing out and just give it one of those?
No, I had shorter hair back then.
Yeah.
So.
Have you never had, well, you kind of had long hair for a while.
That'd be in the early 70s.
I think I got a picture of that I could put up here and everybody can see your long hair looking good. You should you should try this.
That was during a trip to South America. I think I.
And didn't you eat a snake in South America?
No.
I thought I remember that story.
No, I don't recall that at all. I would remember that.
And didn't you master the Peruvian pan flute when you were down there as well? Isn't that one of the instruments?
I played one, but I didn't master it.
You didn't quite master it, but you know, there's still time. There's still time. You still have that at the house, that big... Do you still have that big wooden...
I'd have to look.
You know what I'm talking about, though,
yeah,
don't
I
you?
do, yeah.
It was like a pipe, and I used to go whoop, whoop. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. One of the great toys of my childhood. It wasn't even a toy. But
people play those on street corners for money.
You might be starting. You never know. Things get tougher out there. Well, food prices keep going up, you know. Oh, boy.
Something to do.
Something to do. But Grandpa here, we talked about the Smurf face. Got the Smurf face going on. Very interesting. I do like that mustache, though. That mustache, oh boy. And we've talked about it before. Whenever I imagine you with a mustache. Still to this day, you haven't had a mustache in 30 years?
I would say that's probably true.
Pretty close. And I still, if I close my eyes, say, what's my dad look like? He's got that Tom Selleck mustache going on. So just definitely crazy.
There were two other Draculas that had mustaches. John Carradine, who was father of David Carradine, wore a top hat. And then Lon Chaney Jr., when he was Dracula transported magically to Louisiana.
Well, in Blackula had a mustache. Come on, where are we going?
Forget?
The greatest Dracula of all time, Blackula. But I would like to see a Blackula. I think it would be funny to do if NECA did some of those ones. I don't know if they will, but it'd be interesting. But definitely a good mustache. He's got a little side eye going on there. I don't know if it's like a goofy little look there. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But a good head sculpt all day long.
Yeah, I think
then we get this one. This one almost looks like the local bus driver put blue makeup on for Halloween. He kind of has that look going on there. But, man, those are some bushy eyebrows. I didn't say that on the other one, too. He's got the eyebrows that you can kind of comb up, which is crazy. As you get older, my eyebrows are starting to get a little bit longer up here. I can't wait for the day I'm going to get some of that mustache wax. I'm going to put it up there in a little curl. It's going to be like, I think Ox Baker used to do that back in the day. You know Ox Baker?
No, I don't.
Have you heard the name?
No, I
think you'd know if you saw him, but he was the master of the heart punch. And he had the big bushy eyebrows up there.
But a wrestler.
The more you know, the wrestler, yeah. But yeah, I'm going to do that eventually. So look for that in the future on the channel, hopefully. But looking good. I have no problems with either of these head sculpts. I think they're great head sculpts. No problem with this cape either. Beautiful soft goods cape. Feel that. Feel how nice that is.
It's just like the other ones. The other Dracula.
This is a cape that I would want all day long. And one of these days when I get my cane, I'll probably get a cape with that. Because cape season, it's a never-ending season, as we do know at this point.
If you're going to get the cane, get the Hurricane.
The Hurricane, the wrestler. There you go. Perfect. Well, you can pop the head off on this one, and you can remove the cape if you want to. It's got a little collar, a little stretchy, bendy wire there. So you can have the Count with or without cape. To me, all day long, put the cape on him. All day long. Beautiful bow tie. And then what is this thing? This medallion? Like a Transylvanian medallion? Right. I don't know what exactly it is. Did they ever say what it is? I guess it's probably what symbolizes you being a Count. Is probably what it is.
Right.
Because I think the Count on Sesame Street also has one of these too, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. Besides that, he's got a nice tuxedo going on. He's got a little bit of a bigger guy here. He's just not a real thin Dracula like we're used to. You know, it's a... I don't know, he's got that going on. He's got gloves, all the gloved hands here. Wish he had some regular hands, but they're all gloved. Looking good there. Besides that, you got black shoes, black pants, the usual stuff. Is this a cummerbund? Is that what they call that in white?
It's just kind of a white vest.
A white vest, I guess. Okay, so he's got that going on. But definitely looks good. Of course, head's going to go all the way around. Head's removable. Arms all the way around. Get the old side-to-side at the elbow. Single-jointed elbows. Hands back and forth. Waist articulation a little bit on the side there. Forgot to mention those penguin tails back here. Oh, that's... Yeah. Have you ever worn those? Did we talk about that before?
No, I haven't.
I never will. I'll never wear that. And it's not for me. Not for me. Big old count splits if he needs to. Now, did he ever turn into a bat in the show? I don't know if he did. Yeah, well, he did.
There was always that running joke. Where's Grandpa? And then they would go, oh, he's just hanging around.
That's right. Oh, jeez. Good jokes.
Hang him upside down.
Great jokes. Great jokes. Love it. You get the side-to-side at the knees, single jointed knees, ankles back forth, side-to-side. So we get all the usual NECA articulation hits. Does it fit on a Mattel ringside collectible stand?
Somehow I think it will.
Oh, he thinks it is. Oh, what do you know? He was right. How did you know? Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% on the Mattel stands at Ringside Collectibles, of course. So there it is, the old Count Dracula. Not too shabby, if you ask me. Not for everybody. I get it. I understand there's a lot of hate for this Munsters movie, but there's also a lot of fun to be had in the action figures here, and you can kind of squint your eyes and maybe think it's old Grandpa Al Lewis. One of the greatest actors of a generation, really, at the end of the day.
Different guy.
Different guy. He was an interesting guy, but he lived that Count gimmick to the end. He'd be on Howard Stern in that gimmick. Yeah. He was doing all kinds of stuff. Ran for mayor, I think, at one time.
He ran for governor of New York.
That's right.
On the Green Party ticket.
Oh, of course he did.
So Green Party in those days, much like the Green New Deal Party today. So
Was he
Al was pretty much a communist.
Was he unsafe at any speed by any chance?
I don't know.
Was he close? He was
I don't know.
Like what's his name? But speaking of great Draculas and great Counts, we've got, of course, Bela Lugosi. And Bela Lugosi and Grandpa Al Lewis, best of friends back in the day. So everybody knew that, I think. I might have just made that up right here.
I think you did.
Somebody fact-check that. You might have just done it, but definitely looking good. The tale of two Draculas, I guess. But, man, these NECA Universal Monster ones, absolute chef's kiss. Just beautiful, beautiful figures. Have you opened any of yours up yet? Are they still on card?
They're still on card.
He's still a mint on card collector on that. I'm the loose one. He's the on card guy over there. But that looks really good. Of course, you can't have this without Herman Munster, who we already unboxed on the channel. Herman, of course. I like this one as well. Very fluffy Frankenstein over top there. I always like that for my Frankenstein. A little bit of a crazy zaniness with the tongue sticking out, but a very good looking figure. And then the sleeper one, people forget about, old Zombo. Oh, Zombo. Svengoolie before Svengoolie in a lot of ways. And I say if you're a hardcore Munster fan, you need this Zombo because Zombo was actually in the original series. There was that famous episode where Eddie was just transfixed. He loved this horror movie host. Herman, of course, down in the dumps, like, why doesn't he like me? He likes this Zombo guy. And then Lily takes Eddie, and they go to the TV station, and he meets Zombo, and Zombo's out of makeup and all that stuff, and it just breaks little Eddie's heart.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. That's what happens from time to time. But definitely the Murder's Row. Now we're waiting for Lily. We still got to get Lily.
Wow.
I don't know when that's coming.
What color will her face be?
That's good. I think purple. Oh. Purple, maybe. I don't know.
You got green, you got blue.
all the colors of the rainbow going on here today. But an interesting set. Not for everybody. I get it. I would say play the long game, but you never know with some of these NECA things. Not a lot of them go to clearance. These are hitting stores right now. Herman, you can find at your local Target. Zombo at Target. Grandpa, not quite yet, but we'll get there. Of course, Dracula, he's out there as well. But once these things are gone, they're usually gone for a heck of a long time, and they do shoot up in value. So be interested to see where this Munsters line go. I think after Lily, they're probably going to be done with that set, but we'll see what happens. But we know more Universal Monsters are on the way. We need the creature from the Black Lagoon. The Phantom of the Opera is coming. Wow. London After Midnight, we're going to see that one eventually. Nosferatu is coming.
Oh, wow.
I think you'll join me for that one. Count Orlok, of course. One of the great Draculas, a different one, an interesting one, a silent one,
It is.
But
very silent.
Yeah, exactly. Very silent. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future with the Universal Monsters and the NECA horror movie line. Like I said, I'd like to see some of the Hammer stuff. And if they did a Christopher Lee Dracula, I think you would come over to unbox it.
No, I wouldn't.
I think you would.
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't come?
I can see the blood dripping from his fake fangs right now in those Hammer films.
Uh-oh. There's goes Grandpa. But I think you'd come over. You'd do it just for science. You'd do it for science just one time. You'd say, you know what? Put the hammers away. We're coming on over. We're going to do Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. That's what we're going to do. Or what about that one werewolf movie? What was that guy's name? Oliver Reed.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one. I remember the old monster books when I was a little kid. That picture of that was in there, and I could never figure out where it was from. This is like 1987, 1988. There was no internet back then for a little kid to look up these things, and I was like 7 years old, so that wasn't going to happen either. But I remember looking at it, he's holding the girl or whatever, and I'm like, what the heck? What movie? This isn't Lon Chaney. I've seen this one, and I could never really figure out, and never said in that book what it actually was.
That is a different movie. There's no doubt. I can't say I really care for that movie.
It was all right. It was worth a watch one time. time. That's what most movies are to me. Worth a watch one time. What about Michael Landon, that teenage werewolf one? That was horrible. Even when I was a little kid, I didn't like that one. Did you like that?
No, I didn't.
No, Michael Landon, I'm sorry. Keep your highway to heaven. That's what I say.
And Bonanza.
Bonanza, you know what? Here's going to shock you. I've never seen an episode of Bonanza.
No.
Never seen an episode of Gunsmoke. Never seen any of that
Adam
kind of stuff.
Haas and Little Joe.
And we all know that I'm one class away from a minor in film. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I've heard that, yeah.
And I actually, one of my studies was on the John Ford Westerns.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very versed in the El Dorados and
the John Wayne stuff.
The John Wayne stuff and the Rio Bravos and the world like that. Well versed in that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, not the Gunsmoke, not the Bonanzas, things like that, for whatever reason. Just one of those strange things. But keeping it to movies, you know what I watched yesterday or 2 days ago? What is time? Guess what I watched for the first time ever?
Roy Rogers.
No. I've never seen that either.
No?
No.
Oh.
No, that's too old. That's too old, I think. But I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, wow.
Man, that short round, he stole my heart. Stole my heart, and he's never let go. And I was blown away. That was my kind of movie, because I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
Have you seen these movies?
I have, yeah.
Okay, and I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark like a month ago. What is time, once again? And I said, I don't know what all the hype's about. I don't know. Everybody thinks it's the greatest movie since sliced bread. Shout out to sliced bread. I don't know. But I think if I was like 4 or 5 years old watching it, it probably would have changed my life. But nowadays, I've seen a lot of stuff since then. It's not a whole lot for me. But then Temple of Doom. Oh, man. No, I might even watch that a second time. I might. I haven't watched the rest of the movies since then. We'll see if I watch the rest. I probably will. But I love the crazy voodoo magic, things like that. Him reaching in, trying to grab that guy's heart through his skin.
Oh, my.
Man, you're chalking up. That's my kind of movie right there. So a lot of people said, you're not going to like those sci-fi elements and things like that, but that is right up my alley. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm there. Temple of Doom, worth a visit. Worth a visit. There you go. So there it is. There's all the Count, Grandpa Munster. Any last thoughts on Grandpa Munster? Any last thoughts on the Count? Any last thoughts on Grandpa Al Lewis?
No, there's very colorful figures. They look very colorful. Very nice.
Now, I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it. Any chance if you just are shopping at Target, you're getting some, frozen pizza, you're getting some coffee, things like that, and you just, you meander over to the NECA section like you've been known to do, and you see this on the peg, would you pick it up?
I'm not collecting these. I haven't collected really the rest of them, so probably not. No.
Okay.
But not that I don't like them. It's just.
Well,
I don't even buy green bananas anymore. So.
Well, you're luck, because I'm leaving these to you in my will. So I just put them in there this morning. So good for you. You're going to be very lucky if that day happens soon. And it could happen any day now. The stress of the workday life is really getting to me. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I don't have a problem with this figure. I like it for what it is. I don't read too much into it. It's very colorful. It's campy. It's worth a little corner of a shelf for me, but that might not be for you. You got to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that question. But at the end of the day, a good figure for me. So I'm interested to hear what the people think, though. I think there's going to be a lot of people saying, no, this is dumb. This is not my Munsters. There's going to be people say, yeah, it's all right. Okay, it's cool. So let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this or anything in this very video. Of course, don't forget to like this video. Hacksaw Jim Duggan always appreciates a thumbs up. And Hacksaw was in town the other day. Did you see that?
Wow.
He was here for Bacon Fest. Bacon Fest. Wow. He was living the dream at Bacon Fest. But Hacksaw, shout out to old Hacksaw. He watches all these videos, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he does. But give this video the old Hacksaw Jim Duggan thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Dad, did you know we're dangerously close to 30,000 subscribers?
Yeah, that's great.
Can you believe that? Yeah. I think now is the time for you to hop on board and hit that subscribe button. I think now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time, but we're dangerously close. And if we do get 30,000 subscribers, Dad, I think you'll do a golf tutorial on the channel. You'll show people how to do a swing. We'll get that. We'll film that out in your yard. It'll be great. We'll get the wiffle ball golf course out there. Oh, it'll be great. It'll be great. But make sure you subscribe if you have not. Dad, I'm hoping we'll have something else to unbox fairly soon. I guess I'll keep you in the know. We'll find out very soon. So
very good.
Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget about the Patreon for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, all kinds of stuff. And you do support the channel. You can also support channel ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget to hit me up on social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_ Peterson. And Dad, your TikTok still shut down?
Still shut down.
Still shut down. No sign of it returning either.
No.
I've been looking to get a TikTok going. It's a dangerous game, I hear. I hear China will spy on you if you get there. But they say all the kids are on TikTok.
Yeah, they
so
are.
I might have to get somebody to do my TikTok. I don't want anything to do with it. I just need somebody to do all the work and start a TikTok. So maybe we'll do that one of these days. But not going to find Tom's dance moves in TikTok. You just have to find them at the club on a Saturday night. That's
well, they'll go into reruns sooner or later.
We all do. We all do. So there you go. Sure. All right. Well, Dad, thank you very much for coming and joining the count for us. Until next time, I'm Kyle. This is my dad. We'll see you guys all real soon.